Hi, I'm Eric Zahnd. I'm the Platte County Prosecuting Attorney. Platte County is part of the Kansas City metro area. And before I begin my presentation, I want to thank Pender County DA Ben David. He inspired the We Care program that we're now operating in Platte County with a similar program when he was in North Carolina. And so I'm thankful for my conversations with him, his guidance in getting part of this program up and running. The best thing you can do in prosecution is beg, borrow, and steal. And so I encourage people to take what we've done in Platte County and make it work for your own jurisdiction. Let me tell you a little bit more about Platte County. We're not a huge county, 115,000 people, but we are the fastest growing county in Missouri. We're the northwest corner of Kansas City. Half of my population are actually residents of the city of Kansas City, and then we spread up into even rural areas in the county. And so I've got 14 jurisdictions altogether, in addition to the Missouri State Highway Patrol operating in my county. So we're a mix of suburban and rural areas, small towns. The one thing we don't have is the urban core in Platte County. The urban core of Kansas City is in Jackson County, Missouri, just to our southeast. My office has about 30 employees, 14 assistant prosecutors, 13 of those work full-time. One of them is a part-time prosecutor as well as a professor at our local university, the University of Missouri, Kansas City. We also usually have 2 to 3 interns, so again, about 30 people altogether. We prosecute the whole range of offenses, from traffic offenses all the way through first-degree murder. We've got one pending death penalty case. And last year, we prosecuted about 686 felonies and 10,301. And when I say about, actually, it's exactly that number of felonies and misdemeanors. So We Care is an office community service program in our office that really has 2 parts. The first is comp time that we give for individual community service performed outside of work. And the second is a quarterly all office event where we bring the entire office together and go out into the community and serve there. So this grew out of our office vision value statement that I put together several years ago, and we've got a short vision statement and then 7 values that sort of fill out that vision statement. And involvement is one of our key values, and you can see some of the bullet points under involvement in our community, and I put one of them in gold because that's the important one for this program. We support involvement in civic organizations. I believe prosecutors are better if they're involved in their community. And so here's what we do. For both attorneys and non-attorneys in our office, we have an entirely voluntary community service program. Employees can earn up to 4 hours each month for doing unpaid community service outside normal working hours. And they can do it really just about anywhere. I've included a list of sorts of places that people could work, but honestly, I'll approve just about any community service project. I'm not going to approve volunteering for the Nazi party, something like that. But if it's reasonable, I'm going to approve your community service. Once you do that community service, you track it on a form that we've created. You give that form to your immediate supervisor, and then you can have 4 hours of comp time on a Friday afternoon as approved by your supervisor. Again, we couldn't have the entire office gone one Friday, and so we make sure that that's being approved by a supervisor. But really, most times people say, I want to take this Friday afternoon off. They can do it. There's a second part of the program, which are quarterly all-staff events. Again, this includes both attorneys and non-attorneys. We keep a skeleton crew back here in the office to keep the office running. So the office does not close, but many of us go out to perform community service. Now, we've always got some people who can't attend because they may have a trial coming up, or just the pressure of work here is too much. And we completely understand that. But I strongly encourage every employee who can do it to do it. And the other thing that we do sometimes is we'll do some in-house events. We've done a blood drive. We've done a Christmas party for victims of crime where Santa and Mrs. Claus showed up. We've done a food drive for a local food bank as well. So here's just a few pictures of us out in the community doing what we're doing. The Farmer's House is a local organization that where special needs children and some young adults with special needs have a garden, and they sell that produce from the farm. Harvester's Food Bank is, just as the name implies, it's our local food bank. Hillcrest Transitional Homeless Housing is, again, as the name implies, it's housing for homeless folks as they get to more stable housing. They also raise money through a thrift store, and we've worked there as well. Sullivan Nature Center, again, as the name implies, is a nature center. We planted trees when we worked an afternoon there. Heartland Camps and Retreat Center, again, as the name implies, is a camp and retreat center. We also planted trees when we worked there. There's a picture of our Red Cross blood drive that we did in-house. That wasn't just for our office. We asked every county employee to consider giving blood, and Red Cross reported it was one of the most successful blood drives they had with a business or governmental organization in quite some time in Kansas City. And there we are with Santa and Mrs. Claus. This was a really great event. We didn't put pictures of any of our child victims in this photo. We wanted to protect their privacy, but that's many of our office staff who attended this party, and the kids just had a wonderful time, and it was great for us as well. So here's why I do this. I think it benefits the organizations that we serve, but more importantly, I think it benefits our office. Mahatma Gandhi once said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And of course, we do that every day as prosecutors. We are protecting our communities, working on behalf of our communities. But I think we're also better when we get out of the office and get to know our communities through serving for not-for-profits in our community. And the other thing is, we sentence a lot of people to community service. And we go work at the exact same places that we're working, giving our own community service. And so we have a sense of what those people who are sentenced to community service actually do. There's a couple of my staff people, one attorney, one non-attorney, cleaning a fire damage bookcase at one of the Farmer's House locations here in Platte County. We also think that We Care benefits our office because it keeps morale high. You can see folks joking around, and I encourage that. I want to break down the natural separation between attorneys and non-attorneys. We all know that non-attorney staff sometimes feel intimidated by the attorneys. They may feel like they're not as important, and I don't want that to be the case. And one of the ways that we break that down is have everybody serving together outside the office. I try to lead these events by joking around, by having fun. The community service ought to be fun. It ought to be something that you enjoy doing, and so I try to model that for folks. And while we think we get a lot of good work done for the organizations that we're volunteering for, it's important to use it as a benefit of morale to the office as well. So there's my contact information. If you want to know more about We Care and how we put it together, please feel free. Email me, give me a call. I'm more than happy to share what we're doing in We Care because it's just been so vital for our office. If somebody comes to me and says, guys, I'd like to do this, but I don't know what to do, we'll sit down and have a conversation about, well, what do you like doing? What do you enjoy? And talk through. And we again have dozens of community service sites in Platte County where folks can work if they want to. They can go to the same places. If they enjoyed what we did on an afternoon, they can go back to that location and continue to work there. They can work in their churches. I encourage people, join a Lions Club or a Sertoma Club or a Rotary Club and serve that way. One thing that I was a little bit concerned about is how the community would accept that. Would they think that the fact that I'm giving 4 hours of comp time to folks when they go out and aren't on the job? We're essentially losing 4 hours a month of taxpayer funded work for these people. And I will tell you, the community's reaction to this has been overwhelmingly positive. Everybody agrees with me that prosecutors being out in their community is a good thing. And so the one thing I was fearful about, that there might be a political consequence to this for me, did not arise. And just the opposite. I didn't do this for political benefit at all, but I actually think I've gained standing in the community because of what we're doing. We publicize it. We send out a news release every time we do one of these quarterly events, and I will tell you, it's some of the most publicized stuff that we do. We can put somebody in prison for the rest of their lives, and yes, we'll get some media play on this, but this is a good news story that people like to report. We're suffering in the prosecution community from a lack of confidence in what we do. Unfortunately, some political prosecutions at the national level have undermined what the community thinks of prosecutors, that we are fair and impartial. And this is a way to regain that trust in your community, I believe.